What's up guys, it's Vigel from the AK Manso Pod. Hope you're all enjoying yourself over this Christmas period. Sorry for the lack of activity, we've been kinda busy, but I promise you there's more content in the works and coming your way. So yeah, My Hero Academia has been stupidly good recently, shelling out some fire chapters, but where is it going? And how will society react? And what should we expect? In this video, I'll be running through some of my thoughts on the recent chapters as well as what the future may hold for society and some of our favourite characters. The events that have taken place in recent chapters have been really impressive to me and will work as building blocks to push us on towards the new era of heroes, to the extent that they might even scrap it altogether, which I do feel is very unlikely, but saying that, I wouldn't hate to see it. And with the publicity of the events that have taken place, as well as the character growth we've seen, it wouldn't be far-fetched to postulate that individuals will start to question their current regime and the power structure that their society is currently moulded and shaped by. But before I get into any real depth regarding some of the subject matters I've just brought up, I need to shout out my boy Lemillion and his return. I've actually missed that guy. And it's good to see that Eri's slowly gaining control over her quirk. I promise you, she'll be playing an important role in the future and the changing of the shape of their society forever, especially with everything that's taken place. She's going to play a key role in the political realm, mainly when her abilities get leaked, which I predict will happen sooner rather than later. Oh yeah, and before I forget, it's time for Kachan to call it a day. He's literally been walking a tightrope. He's actively trying to open death's door. Bro, I know times are hard and your hero name is dead, but this doesn't mean that you have to die as well, bro. Live on so you can pick a better, more creative name, please. Moving on a bit, it's been great to see the villains present their resolve and showcase the circumstances that have produced the ideals they carry, fundamentally shaping all their actions. And that will we've seen carried by the heroes and also the villains has been very significant in all the character interactions as well as the clashes of thoughts and ideas, and has generally pushed this arc and made it one of the best I've seen from this manga in a long time, really showcasing how integral the actions and ideals of the past have played and continue to play a significant role in producing what we've seen throughout this arc, to the extent that I would say a number of characters are unaware of all the elements and systematic influence that have low-key pushed them in the direction they currently find themselves in. Obviously, the most basic example is Endeavor's son Toya, and how the pressure of the hero system meant that his dad chose to unfairly expose him to pressures beyond his years, which then led to what we see today. And in the case of Shigaraki, the will that is actively trying to consume him, trying to control his actions, are probably beyond him in terms of his understanding of the complexity of another individual's will and how that clashes against one's own free will. It's kind of looking sticky for our boy Shigaraki, and if he doesn't take care, his actions will not be his own. And I would actually hate to see that, because I still feel there's a lot for him to give as a character. In a similar state, we have Endeavor, who's been burned by the flames of his past, and he can't complain as he lit the spark. Oh, you see what I did there? This guy stinks! I'm sorry, man. I had no choice. I couldn't let that one slide. Anyway, it's clear to see that both the perceived good and evil are fighting against the consequences of the actions and sins committed by those before them, and in essence are trying to cope with their experiences in their own ways, some better than others. All these experiences have produced lessons that will allow hero society to learn from their pasts, as well as their current events that are taking place. Hopefully, we can get rid of the pretenders and the fake heroes playing dress up. And to be honest, I know this is such a wild thing to say, But All Might was actually the worst thing to happen to Hero Society. Like, no cap. For real. He just painted over the cracks. And obviously the paint job was good. Everybody was happy. Everybody's believing in peace and justice. But as we've seen from this arc, that's been far from the truth. A wise man once said, "The eyes are easily deceived." I'm not sure who, and I'm too lazy to find out, so let's just pretend it was me. And it's very clear to see from the information we've received on the likes of Harima, aka Robin Hood, who was performing his own form of justice. The cracks have been visible to all who chose to see. And it also begs the question, who are those individuals out there who are actively trying to cover up those cracks? It's very clear to see that we're coming to some sort of conclusion to this fight. With that in mind, especially with the dramatic impact this fight has had on everyone, clearly the large amount reveals that the general public have been exposed to will have to cause some sort of reaction. I find it hard to believe that they will continue to naively follow and turn away from the events that have taken place, now seeing the very system that they over rely on actually fail and actively cause them harm. Things have to be done. Things have to change. And I see there being big power clashes where some heroes point towards the events being isolated things, pointing out their historic trend, basically channel a lot of nonsense. But as you know, there's a lot of people who will believe and listen to this nonsense and will basically continue to fight for a system that is actually hurting them, a system that's actually broken, a system that is continuously producing villains at a crazy rate. Like, you have to question it at some point. Obviously, the immediate aftermath will be to attend to the wounded, but ironically, these wounds don't compare in depth to those deep-rooted gashes we've seen in their society. And now that they're unable to hide from this fact, they must ask big man question. We've continued to see the prominence of these media companies and how big they are, but I now believe that we're going to see the power and scale of their influence that these companies actually have, and how they leverage this, and how this has contributed to the shape of society we're now being exposed to. And this is definitely a key aspect to the future arcs and has to play a prominent role. We understand how influential the media is in our world and the influence it has in controlling thought and speech. It will definitely be very interesting to see who's holding on to this power in My Hero and how they use it in relation to the events we've seen, and if the general public will even accept what is said. Because there comes a point when you just have to question everything, and if we're not at that point right now, I have no idea when we'll be. So I'm definitely excited to see the powers at play and the type of interactions this will produce. I'm definitely hoping that the next generation of heroes push their agenda and stand for change, especially since they've played such an integral role in the current events, really showcasing their great leadership, determination, as well as bravery beyond their years. I definitely feel that it's a great time to get a more political aspect to this series, where we might see political parties in the government voicing their opinions on the problems that quirks and heroes have played in dismantling society by creating extreme individuals leading to large-scale damages being produced, which obviously costs money to fix. And I know some members of government will point towards the inefficiency of the system in relation to the cost. You know, those people who worry about money rather than people. But this might push towards a reduction in the amount of power heroes have, which is definitely needed. What may also happen is a lot of corporate restructuring, especially with these powerful media companies. What I would say can't happen or precede these events, or technically it could happen knowing these writers. So let me rephrase this. What shouldn't happen is everything goes back to what is deemed to be normal, i.e. blame everything on the so-called bad guys or villains and praise the heroes for putting up a good fight. and getting gassed over how strong the UA students are. If that happens, you're either insulting my intelligence or leading us to believe that people in society are so brainwashed they're unable to see the truth, or would just rather remain ignorant. But like I said, I am really excited to see what precedes these events and the overall impact it will have on all the characters. It's definitely a great means to create more impactful story moments and interactions, really challenging the characters' morality and ideas on the subject of good and evil. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've had loads of ideas in terms of concepts that I want to record, but I actually never know if they're worth recording. But I actually can't be like that anymore. So get ready for more videos and content coming your way. As always, I'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace.